Okay, let's look ahead. People talking about Mac Jones getting traded. He's going to be in demand. There's not supposed to be like a real incredible class of college quarterbacks coming out. Vikings need a quarterback, clearly. I mean, there's teams that need quarterbacks. Mac Jones is the guy. If the Niners trade him, and I think they could maybe get a third round pick for him, and they don't want this quarterback controversy, and they don't want Mac Jones invalidating this extension they gave Brock Purdy by playing almost as well as him for a lot cheaper. If they trade him, who do you think the Niners could get to replace him? Would they just go with Curtis Rourke, or would they sort of bring in the next reclamation project? They've had success going down that avenue.
They have had a lot of success. I mean, I would imagine they don't even have to go look. I bet you guys will come to them. You know what I mean? I want to be the next Darnold. I want to be the next Mac Jones. I mean, it's we call this the copycat league for a reason. The coaches copy the other coaches, the GMs copy the other coaches, but get this, the players copy the other players. So I would bet like the Zach Wilsons of the world are going to be sprinting over here. But I'll give you a name that I think
they might be able to do better than Zach Wilson.
Well, I'll give you a name that I think is going to be the guy if there is a guy. First of all, I think it's very likely that it's nobody, that it's just Rourke and maybe somebody in the draft and Martinez, who I think they really like, and Brock. And I think they will probably trade Jones. But if you're thinking of like who's a viable guy, who I think's a viable guy is Davis Mills. Because Davis Mills knows the offense. Davis Mills is smart, went to Stanford. He has mobility. He has experience. He's never going to threaten Brock, but he's also has enough stature to step in and play and win and be good in this offense. And I think he's smart enough to know that Shanahan, it'll be very attractive to him to come home where he went to college, play for Shanahan. I think Davis Mills would be a good one. I mean, I'd say Tanner McKee, but I don't think you'd have to trade for Tanner McKee. They're not going to do that. I'd be interested
saying that
in
Davis Mills is signed through 2026. You might have to trade for him as well.
Okay, yeah. So maybe. Well, I would say Zach Wilson for sure. Okay. I think Zach Wilson would love to be here. I would be interested in Anthony Richardson just because I think. Look at. I mean, we're at a point in history where you got to score in the red zone, and you got to. And what do the Eagles do? They got this tush push, but what does the tush push do? It puts your quarterback's neck and head, which is very important, in harm's way. So, I mean, I get the tush push, but it's not for everybody, and you're really risking quite a bit, even though it looks like a real slam dunk of a play. But I think there's got to be something that you could do with Anthony Richardson in the red zone and on the goal line to have a special package. He's 6'4", 240, and runs 4.4. Are you telling me you can't use Anthony Richardson on the goal line? I'd be all about Anthony Richardson and seeing if I could develop him into some contributor. I think Anthony Richardson's skill set is super, super intriguing.
It's a good one. There's a few unrestricted free agents that are very intriguing to me. One, Malik Willis. Every time he comes in for relief of Jordan Love, he looks good. And that system over there in Green Bay is a lot like the Niners system. He's 26. He's had some starting experience. Yeah. I mean, the Titans suck. And when he gets to play for the Packers, he looks very competent. I like Malik Willis. That's one guy. I need to be cheap. But let me give you some other names. Like
DTR?
No. Flacco. If he still wants to play, like he's legitimately a good quarterback. Marcus Mariota would be good on the Niners. I mean, he gets hurt, but he's always been a pretty good quarterback and he has starting experience. And then there's one guy who I still won't quit. Mitchell Trubisky. I feel like Mr. Trubisky would be a solid backup on this team.
I can't go Trubisky. I can't go Mr. Trubisky, but I like your.
If Sam Darnold can get it together, Trubisky can't. Oh, poor Mitch.
Here, I'll give you one. If you're looking for a viable one that actually could happen, Cousins. He's going to be.
Not think of that.
He's going to be cut loose. By the way, how bad is JJ McCarthy? You're telling me I watched JJ McCarthy last week. You're telling me that the Niners could call up the Vikings and just say, we're not giving you Mac Jones unless you give us like a second round pick and a really good player. Give us.
What if they offer the Niners JJ McCarthy?
Yeah,
I don't think the Niners want him.
I don't want JJ McCarthy.
It's like, what are we
Um,
gonna do with that? We need a guy who can play.
take Donovan Jackson. I want your left guard from Ohio State. I want Donovan Jackson. I want somebody. I want something. I want some player with my second round pick. I'm not just give. You have J.J. McCarthy. You just got rid of Sam Darnold and watched him go. Succeed elsewhere. I would imagine. The head coach there is definitely Kevin O'Connell, KOC. He's under some. He's got to be under the pressure, right? I mean,
Well,
you
I
were
feel bad for him because was it his fault that they went to JJ McCarthy? Look, I've been talking about this for years, and I feel more strongly than ever. I would never draft a quarterback in round one who has less than like 1,000 throws in college. Maybe I make an exception for 950, but this JJ had like 600 throws in college, and you left. That's what Trey Lance did. I mean, you can make money in college. You can transfer as much as you want. If you jump to the pros after 600 throws, it feels like you're trying to pull one over on people. Like, I don't want you to really examine me too much. My stock is high. If I go back to school, I might get exposed because I'm not that good. You should want to stay in school for 5 or 6 years. I mean, look at Bo Nix. It didn't hurt him. When you get into the league, you got to be ready to fucking play and play well. Otherwise, it's over. Your career's over. So I think that was a red flag. Him just bouncing after the national championship. Like, if you think Michigan's going down the tank, transfer to Texas or something and keep playing and keep proving yourself because 600 throws, you're going to be a bust. That's my rant.
Well, especially because that Michigan team he was on had like 18
Loaded.
guys that were drafted. It
Yep.
was one of the most loaded teams of all time. He had barely played. I mean, that's the Parcells rule. He wants to see 40 plus starts. He that's his barometer. If you haven't made 40 plus starts, we're not drafting you. I believe in that. I mean, you don't you can't even find out if because there's an adjustment period. It's like, what are you? Can you adjust to the defenses you're seeing? Oh, wait, now here's your skill sets. Who never adjusted? Kaepernick. I remember that game against Arizona. They dropped everybody into a soft zone and they just nobody took their eyes off Kaepernick. And he so much gave away where he was going with the football that he threw 2 pick sixes in the first half, and I don't think he ever recovered. Look at his game log from the 2 pick six game in Arizona onward. I don't think they showed this guy is going to show us where he's going with the ball, and we're not going to try to play anything other than a soft zone and read his eyes. And then he didn't adjust back. That's it. Game over. You have to continue adjusting. That's why you have to be able to throw with some anticipation. If you can't throw with anticipation, that means you can't read coverage. You can't read coverage, you can't play. Eventually, they're going to turn off your water.
Do we disagree on this one? I'm trying to find something we disagree on.
Right. We were talking about that. What do we disagree on?
I'm adamantly against him trading Mac Jones. I think it's a mistake.
Okay.
I feel like you have a starting quarterback at $4 million a year. Hold on to that. I don't care if he's upset or not, he wants to leave or not, or if the Vikings want him or not. You got him. Hold on to him. You think they should trade him?
There's always a price tag, and I think you would admit too. You're just saying you wouldn't trade him for what you think.
Like, I don't anticipate like a first round pick offer anyway. So, but I think he's worth more to the Niners than whatever the Vikings would offer.
So you're saying you think they're going to get a second maybe or a third, and that you wouldn't trade him for that.
Maybe a third.
See, I think he's going to get more. I think he's going to bring you a second and then a mid-round pick and maybe even a late day 3 pick. I think I think you can get 3 picks out of him, or I think you can get a second and a good player because you're talking.
You better get a bunch of day 2 picks because John Lynch is going to mess up 2 of them.
You could get something that the Niners could turn into Dante Pettis or Drake Jackson. Plus, yeah.
I mean, it seems like an unfair thing to say, but we have 9 years of like evidence to point to. It's been a problem.